Hello again, this is Mike with Toy Train Tips and Tricks, and today we're going to talk about insulated outside rail sections, how to make them and why to have them. And we'll start with the first question, why to have them? Well, one of the advantages of having three-rail track is that both the outside rails end up being part of the common. So you have a redundant rail that's really not needed for the circuit. You need a hot and a common, but here you have an extra common, and so by insulating part of it, attaching a wire to it, separating it from the other side, when the metal wheels of the train come and activate the circuit on that insulated rail to that wire, you can use it as an on-off switch to throw turnouts, to activate crossings, to activate gatemen and other accessories, or in conjunction with a relay, you can use it as part of a signal system or semaphores. So this is essentially how the Lionel non-derail feature works. It's already wired in. For most Lionel switches, it uses the inside rails with insulating pins. That's why you need the insulating pins. Actually, on this one, this is an early version of the 1122, which has it built in and it uses the outside rails. But in any case, so in this case, from here to here is insulated, is separated from the rest of the common, but there is a wire that attaches underneath here that goes to the solenoid. So when the metal wheels of the train hit this, it completes the circuit from this common to this common and turns on the switch, throwing it the appropriate direction. Similarly, this side is insulated from here to here. The wheels touch here, they bring the common from this side to this side, and it activates that side of the switch, turns it on. So you can use this as part of your non-derail feature. It's built in, or like I said, you can use it for crossing gates, you can use it for semaphores, any on-off type activity. Sometimes you can use it to help with automatic train control, or in conjunction, like I said, with a relay. You can use it with signals, or really anything you can come up with where the train activates the on-off action of whatever you're doing. So how do you make one of these, and how does the track work? Well, you see with these metal ties, the tie connects electrically the two outside rails through the tie, but here on the center rail there is an insulating fiber. This electrically isolates the middle rail from the common rails, and that prevents your short circuit. Incidentally, over time these can fail, and if you get a piece of track that has a short circuit in it, it's probably these fiber insulators, which are usually cardboard or a really thin plastic sometimes, depending on the era and the manufacturer. But over time, these can fail, get small openings in them, and then the electricity can go and short the circuit. All right, so basically what we want to do is we're going to insulate this rail from this rail. And to do that, we're going to add this type of insulation to the outside rail, and then you can run a wire from that, put insulating pins on either end, and that will make this section of rail electrically independent from this section of rail. All right, so to do that, get yourself a small flathead screwdriver, and the metal is just simply crimped over the bottom of the rail. And most of these will slide over without too much effort. If you get one that is really stubborn, then the fast way to do it is to take your flathead screwdriver, place it in this slot between the tie where the little crimp is, and whack it with a hammer. That will straighten it out really fast. But most of them will come across without too much effort. So I'm going to do it that way, with the least amount of force possible here. That one's being a little stubborn. Let me try the inside. There we go. And once you get one side, it gives you an angle to work the other side better. So step one is loosen these so that you can get the piece of track out. step 2 is to actually apply some type of insulator. All right, this one I'm going to give a little bit of an encouragement. It's a little better. Fascinating video right here. Okay. All right, so we can separate the rail, and let's loosen these up a little bit more. Let's grab some needle nose pliers. And let's pull these back, give us a little bit more clearance. I like to pull them as vertical as possible. So you see we're doing this in real time. This is not taking a great deal of time to do this. Okay, so the next step is to add insulation to these spots. And now you can see where the rail is crimped. That helps as a guide. So there's a couple ways you can do that. One, you can steal an insulator from an old scrap piece of track, which is what this is here. And that can work if you've got enough scrap pieces and you take the time to take them apart. But again, be very, very careful, because over time, especially here in these creases, you can get a really small hole, and that's all it takes for the electricity to want to jump across. So instead of doing that, I like to do my own. And so I took part of a 3x5 note card, and I pre-cut these roughly the same size as this, which about 16 millimeters square is what that comes out to. And let's put the light side up. I'm going to just slide this in here in place, and you see it's big enough. If I can get my fat fingers in here. You see that's long enough to completely cover the tie, the metal tie, so we don't have to worry about electric. So again, if I can get my fat fingers in there, I'm going to slide this into place. That one's being stubborn. Get in there. Okay, give it a little fold, stay. Okay, just enough to hold it in place. Another thing that you can do, another option some people do, is they use electrical tape, which does work. I usually find when I try electrical tape, I get the pieces a little bit too big. I have to go back and trim them. And the other thing is, make sure that you're using good quality vinyl tape, and be very, very careful when you recrimp the rails that you do not puncture the tape and create a short circuit. Okay, so I'm going to slide the rail back where it belongs. Now with the paper added, and I might have cut one of them just a little bit too big. This one also doesn't want to come back far enough. Let's bring this one a little bit wider. There we go. Slide everything back into place. 1, 2, and whoop, where'd it go? 3. All right. So before I crimp these back in place, just to check, the tie is completely covered. I said I did cut these a little bit big, so I'm going to have to go back and trim a little bit, it looks like. And it's also wide enough and placed so that when I crimp this piece of metal over, it won't make contact with the rail. This one is a little bit off. I'll redo this one so that I can get it and completely cover that crimp. There, that's better. Okay, so we're in place. Now I'm going to go back to my flathead screwdriver, and I'm just going to go back to these metal tabs and push it back over. That's one side. The other side. Okay, so it's isolated now. I did cut these, it looks like a little bit big, so what I will do is I will come back with an X-Acto knife and trim a little bit of this excess paper off on the inside. The outside's not so important. I mean, I can trim it up to make it look a little better, but as long as it's below the top of the railhead, it's not going to interfere with operation any at all. On the inside, though, you want to down here below the rail head so it doesn't interfere with the flanges. And I'm going to tighten that up a little bit more. Let me get a bigger screwdriver. Apply a little bit more force. There we go. We want this good and tight so that the rail does not wiggle. Okay. There. So I won't take the time to show you the trimming up, but basically this is now electrically isolated from the other two rails. So what I will now do is, to use this, I will put an insulating fiber pin in this side. I'll pull this pin out and put an insulating fiber pin in this side. Or some folks for insulating pins will use wood toothpicks or other solutions. But put an insulating pin on each side. That keeps this completely isolated. Then you will attach a wire to this. You can use a lock-on, or you can solder a wire, or I like to take wires with soldered spade connectors on and push them in there for a good solid physical connection. So you take that wire and you run it to whatever accessory you are trying to activate, to the common side. Then the hot side goes to your power pack, your accessory power, and say you're running a crossing gate. There's two tabs. One tab goes to accessory hot. The other tab goes here. And when the metal wheels of the train come by, hit this section of track, the power will go from this rail to your wire and activate your accessory. When the train's gone, no power here, no power to the common of the accessory. The gate goes up and the lights go off and you are set. So that's how you make an insulated track section for tubular track. Doesn't matter whether it's straight, whether it's curved. You just peel back the tabs on all of the metal track ties, add insulators, paper, fiber, or electrical tape, put it back together and run your wire, and you're all set and ready to go. So I hope you found this entertaining and informative. And if you like it, please subscribe, like it, thumbs up, tell your friends, tell your neighbors, and we'll keep the trains running. We'll see you next time on Toy Train Tips and Tricks.